What's up guys, Nero here and welcome to the first Football Manager 2020 experiment on my channel. Being locked down all across the world, not just in the UK at the moment, I thought, I play enough Football Manager it is. I've just finished a 10-year Rangers save, winning Champions League on 4 occasions, so I thought why not take it to YouTube, give me something to do. And so my first experiment is seeing if I can win the World Cup with Hong Kong. So basically what I've done here is I've given the country a 200 youth rating and increased the youth facilities of all 4 divisions in the country and see how long it takes for them to become the best nation in the world. I got this idea and going to have a lot of my experiment ideas sort of inspired from a good mate of mine, which is Jared HD, a FIFA career mode YouTuber who does this sort of rebuilding saves. And I thought, we can do something similar on Football Manager, take it over to a different game and see if everyone enjoys it. So these won't be series as such. Each country or each club I decide to take over will be its singular episodes. You get all of it in one big go. So as you can see here, we've made ourselves Hong Kong manager, and yeah, so as I said before, we've given us the best youth rating possible, which is 200, so I'll show you here on nation details and generated players. As you can see there, it says 200, and if we go into the team, so we go to the Hong Kong Premier League, start off with Eastern, for example, go into their club details, facilities, as I said, 20 for training facilities, youth facilities, junior coaching, youth recruitment, and corporate facilities, and I've done that for every club in the Hong Kong Premier League, Hong Kong First Division, Hong Kong Second Division, and Hong Kong Third Division. So we should be able to get some really good regens, and it'll be interesting to see how long it takes us to even to qualify for a World Cup and then potentially win one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep joining back to you as the World Cups go along, and then we'll recap what's happened in like the qualification process, if I qualified. Hopefully it won't take me too many World Cups to qualify, and also what's happening in the East Asian Cup and Asia Cup, see if we've got any more silverware along the way. So if we go into our squad, you can see this current state of play at the moment. The current abilities, potential abilities aren't too good, and as you can see, a lot of the Hong Kong players are actually sort of Brazilian journeymen who've sort of come to play in the league. The likes of Sandro, who actually starts up front of Hong Kong, 13 finishing, 12 strength and 12 composure. Not horrific, but I doubt he's going to be in the team for much longer, especially being the age of 32. But you've also got some of the players here. It's not the greatest, no current abilities over 100. Highest potential ability is Helio with 129, but he's already 33 years old, so there's no chance of him reaching that potential. So what I'll do is I'll rejoin you in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar and see, how we did in the qualifying. Well, as you can see, guys, it's the 19th of December 2022, which means the Qatar World Cup has just happened. If we start off, if we go look at our schedule first, if we go back to 2019, obviously that's when the save started. We started off with a 1-1 draw against Thailand, which was an unfortunate result. We actually did very well in this game. Then we beat Sri Lanka 3-0 away in a friendly. Just so you know, I'm not actually managing the friendlies. I'm just going to be doing the competitive qualifiers and tournament games. Then we had a 5-2 win against Singapore, thanks to a hat-trick from Sandro, Christian and with a goal off the bench, and Brian Fock from centre-back. Then we lost, unfortunately, 3-2 to Qatar. As you can see here, Akram Afif base, he just absolutely battered us with getting a hat-trick. Then we lost 4-0 away to Australia. I mean, that's no bad result, really, considering we haven't had a youth intake yet. We were using just the real players, I guess you can say. And then we go into November, we had a 1-0 loss away to Thailand, but then we beat Bhutan 3-2 in a friendly. Moving across to December, we beat Turkmenistan 4-0, and then in a friendly, but we missed our first sort of big result without actually any youth intake yet. But we beat Japan 4-2 in the East Asian Cup. This is quite a cool tournament because it's basically just between China, Hong Kong, South Korea, and Japan. And yeah, it happens every 2 years, I think. And it's really good fun. It's a good way to test yourself instead of these pointless friendlies against the likes you can see here, Bhutan and Turkmenistan. But we unfortunately lost 5-2 to China and then 6-1 to South Korea. But again, this is with no youth intake yet. We go into 2020. We started off in March with a 7-0 victory over Singapore in the World Cup qualifiers. Then we beat in April on April Fool's Day. We beat Qatar 4-0, and then it came to June. We unfortunately lost 3-2 to Australia. Basically, I worked hard for my chances, and every single time Jamie McLaren or Matthew Leckie paced their way through and goal, they seemed to score. So that sort of ended the World Cup qualifiers. Go look at the World Cup qualifiers in our group. We may finish second bottom, but we only finished, 2 points off second. So I think we did respectively well, considering, we scored the most goals in the group. It was just sort of defending was our big problem. And I think that's the problem you always find, even when you do non-league saves, is that, you know how to score goals. It's just sort of keeping it ashore at the back. So we go back to our schedule here. We just had friendlies to the rest of the year. So we beat Northern Marina 5-1, Maldives 2-0, Malaysia 3-0, Mongolia 6-1, Tajikistan 5-1, Laos 3-0, Macau 8-0. Going to 2021, won. We beat Nepal 2-0 in a friendly. Then in the qualifiers for the Asia Cup is where we really, started showing our mettle, because we've had a couple of youth intakes by now. We've had the 2021, and then come to the India game, we've had the 2021 one as well. So we beat Sri Lanka 5-1, then we beat India 6-0, beat Pakistan 2-0 in a friendly, beat Qatar 3-1. They were the next toughest team in my qualifying group. Then beat Sri Lanka away 4-1, lost away in a friendly 5-0 to Jordan. That probably wouldn't have happened if I was actually managing, but I couldn't bother to manage the friendlies, just competitive games. Then we beat Qatar 3-0 in the Asian Cup qualifiers. In the East Asian Cup in 2021, we beat China 3-2. Unfortunately, lost 2-0 to Japan, but also beat South Korea 3-2 as well. Unfortunately, if we go and look at the stages of the previous one in 2021, we came third, unfortunately, on goal difference. But again, we could have won it if we scored more goals or conceded less goals. So, there's nothing. I think that's a decent thing to look at with the East Asian Cup, and it's a good way to sort of battle yourself against two of the better teams in Asia, win Japan and South Korea. I'm surprised how well China have done it in both of them as well. Moving into 2022, in the final qualifier for the Asian Cup, we beat India 2-0. So if you look at that group now, 6 wins, 0 drawn, 0 losses, 23 scored, only 3 goals conceded, qualifying us for the Asian Cup, which is going to happen just after this World Cup. So you'll see what happened in that tournament in the next World Cup in 2026. That's the USA, Canada, Mexico tournament. Then in the friendlies, we beat Oman 4-2, beat Brunei 5-1, beat Uzbekistan 2-0, and beat Afghanistan 3-0. Sorry. So we go into our team here under tactics. You can see if we rank this by current ability, our highest ranked player at the moment is Lam Ho Lam with a 1-3-4 with a 1-4-2 potential. So he's close to reaching his potential of a 1-4-2, which isn't horrific, especially compared to the rest of the team here. But he's done so well because he's playing for Sparta Rotterdam in the Eredivisie. So he's already in Europe. He's playing in Holland. So he's more likely to reach potential because he's playing at high level. And he's got some very nice stats here. 15 tackling, 15 technique, 17 first touch, 17 teamwork, 18 work rate, 16 determination, 15 decisions, 15 balance, 16 natural fitness, a decent pace of 13, 14 acceleration, just unfortunately a poor strength, but he's been a very good player for us, as you can see by his current ability. You've got Limbu, Binon Limbu, who's of Nepalese descent, I want to say, although he's still come through Hong Kong. That's what you find in Hong Kong. You don't just get Hong Kong players who have the sort of 3 names. You get players who sort of from other nations who've come through. He's now at Kitchee, Kitchee, they're one of the better teams in the Hong Kong Premier League, so hopefully that means he can get a move to, I don't know, maybe China or Japan, Korea, or potentially into even Europe, because he's got good potential. Bernard Limbu 1-5-2, and then we got Takashi Ichikawa, who I think's been a very, very good player for us. He's got very all-rounded stats for a wide player. Even like 6 foot 11 stamina, 10 strength. It's not too bad. We go next to this guy here, Lung. I probably absolutely butchered his name, but he's a regen, so he's not going to be able to tell me off. This left back hasn't got great technical stats quite yet, but if you look at his potential of 168, and he's still only 17 years old, so hopefully he can get a move from Kitchee to a big club so he can reach that potential and help us win that World Cup. Pang Chong Kit's our highest potential probably so far, which is a 186 and a 109 current ability. He's currently a right winger, good stats like 15 crossing, 14 dribbling, 14 pace, 14 acceleration. Again, he's at Southern District, so hopefully he can get a move to a European or a Chinese club or a Japanese club, or maybe even to the A-League, just to help him reach his potential. So we go into potentials in the current squad. We've got 186, 168, 152, 142, 132, 126, 115. So decent. And then we go into scouting, go into player search. We see, players who aren't in the first team yet. So we go nationality is Hong Kong, and go here current abilities. And if we can go look to potential abilities here, and this I can get across here. Yeah, so we've got 186. We've got a 170 here called Liu Hu Ming, who's currently a striker. Who's he's only got his current ability is only 49, so that's why he's not in the national setup yet. So yeah, these sort of 3 players are probably our best. And we got also here we got Chow La Kok or Chow Ka Lok, another centre midfielder who's got 156. We're getting some decent potentials here. So that's what the country's sort of looking like now. We didn't make the World Cup, but we didn't embarrass ourselves. We got double figures in points. We just couldn't match Australia. We qualified for the Asian Cup, and what is also interesting is sort of how the youth teams have been doing. So they've actually been doing really well. So that sort of bodes well for the future. The Under-20 World Cup we actually won, as you can see. We're the title holders here. If we go to the Under-23s, I think it was the Asian Cup they won. under 23 Nations Cup. If we look at, they won that in 2022 as well. So it's really good to see that, and it does bode well for the future. So hopefully that means in the next 5 to 10 years, so in the next 2 to 3 World Cups times, you'll really be able to see potentially just qualifying for these World Cups, or hopefully winning these in the next sort of 30 years or so. So it's going to be a long save, but it's going to be really rewarding to see when we finally win that World Cup with Hong Kong. So that's been it for the 2022 World Cup, guys. I'll see you guys in 2026, see how we do in the 2023 Asian Cup, and see if we can qualify for that World Cup in Canada, USA and Mexico. As you can see, it's now the 12th of July 2026, so we've just finished the World Cup that was held in the USA, Mexico and Canada. So if we start back in 2023 and look at our results, so we went into the Asia Cup with 2 friendly wins over Philippines and Thailand. Then we ended up, as you can see, winning the Asia Cup. In the group stage, we beat Syria 2-0, UAE 5-0, Malaysia 4-0, got Taiwan in the second round, knocked them out 4-0, knocked out Australia, which is actually a really tough quarterfinal, because I'd argue they're probably the best team in Asia, apart from us, clearly, as we won the Asia Cup, but we beat them in extra time. That's got some Binod Limbu and Chan Ho Hun. We beat Iran 3-0 in the semi-final with Lam Ho Lung, Pang Chong Kit and Garo with 90+3. Then we beat South Korea in extra time, just like we did Australia, with 1-0 with a goal from Garo. So, we won the Asian Cup, which is brilliant. It was our first time attempting it, because obviously the previous one was at the beginning of 2019, so obviously we wouldn't have played that. So great to win the Asian Cup at the first attempt. As you can see, we absolutely dominated in the second round of qualifying. 10-0, 5-0, 5-0, 6-1, 9-0. Then beat North Korea 13-0 in a friendly. Now, this East Asian Cup for me was an absolute joke. So if we go to this is the East Asian Cup, and let's see if we can find the table. So if we go to stages, and if I can get here correctly, current season. So we go back to 2023 here. As you can see, we finished on identical records, us and South Korea. But as you can see at the bottom there, South Korea were randomly chosen over us after both of us. So how can you choose a team at random to win a tournament? Again, very, very annoying there. But we go back to our schedule, as you can see here, and go into 2024. We started off again in the second round with 3 more wins in the second qualifying round for qualifiers. Beat Syria 4-0, Yemen 5-0, India 3-1. And then we got into the final stage. As you can see, wins there, apart from that 1-0 loss to Australia. And Australia, when it comes to these sort of qualifiers, seems to be my sort of hiccup, but we beat them in the Asia Cup, where it really mattered here. But also in 2024, it wasn't just the qualifiers we did well in. We go to the East, the under 23 Asian Nations Cup. As you can see, in 2024, Hong Kong were able to win it, backing up our 2022 victory. As you can see, in the 2026, we were unable to win it, and obviously Australia, as you can see, won that. We also did it in the under 19s category, which means that this 200 youth ranking, we can really see it sort of coming through in our youth systems. That's now our second win out of 3 in that. We also won it in 2020 as well. Also, a good thing that we won was, I think, Young Asian Player of the Year, if I can get it up. Asian Young Footballer of the Year here. As you can see, we've won it now 3 years in a row, but we also won it in 2019 and 2020 with Sun Dai, but we've got Takashi Ishikawa, Binod Limbu and Pang Chong-kut. So we've won that for the last 3 years in a row, which is great to see. If we go into our 2025 now, as you can see, we did really, really well in these qualifiers. Again, we go into these stages. As you can see, we won 9, drawn 0, lost 1. 32 goals scored, only 4 goals conceded in this stage, 28 goals, 27 points. Again, it was just that loss to Australia, which means we qualified for our first World Cup in this save. If we go into the profile, and as you can see, Binod Limbu was a top goal scorer with 22 goals, which is absolutely crazy, considering he's only got 7 finishing. But he's actually, he's at Anderlecht. We'll go through the players shortly, see how they're doing. But yeah, crazy. Someone scored 22 goals in qualifying with only 7 finishing. We had the top assisters with Takeshi Ishikawa and Pang Chong-kit with 18 and 15 respectively. 7 player matches and Binod Limbu, and Pang Chong-kit with 7 yellow cards. And in 2025, so we go to the East Asian Cup, because that also happened in 2025. We go to the East Asian Cup, we go to stages, and we go to 2025. As you can see, we won that with three wins out of 3. So we won our first East Asian Cup as well. So as you can see now, we won an East Asian Cup and an Asia Cup, which we're finally starting to get some silverware into the club. So we go to this year's World Cup. The world, as we can see here. So the winner of it was not actually France. France couldn't make it 3 in a row. It was Argentina beating Portugal on penalties after a 0-0 stalemate. But if we go to stages and go to all the groups, let's go here, all groups. We were drawn in a group with, here we go, there we are, in Group K with Turkey, Hong Kong and Ivory Coast. So we ended up in 2 really, really weird games. We go to our schedule here. You know, if we go into 2026 here, we had in the World Cup 2 3-3 draws. Annoyingly, this probably should have been 2 wins here, because as you can see, you know, we were 3-1 up in this game, but they got 2 late goals through Mustafa Zeybek and Cengiz Under to make it 3-3. And then, you know, they scored in the 87th minute after Lamho Lam was sent off, and we ended up in the second round getting Ireland, who are ranked 13th in the world, so, you know, they're most likely going to beat us. But although it says, you know, 4-0 here, I think it was a fairly even match. They just happened to take their chances, and when you got someone like Troy Parrott up front, you're always going to score goals against me. So unfortunately, you know, we made our first World Cup, we got to the knockout rounds, but we were unfortunate to go any further, so it'll be interesting to see if we can do a lot better in 2030. If we go look at the team now, this is the team I'm currently rocking at the moment. If we go rank it by current ability, so, you know, as you can see, we've got a 1-6-2, we've got a 1-5-5, a 1-3-4, you know, 1-2-9. We've got some good players with some good potentials. We're looking at the best potentials in the squad. You know, you've got a 1-8-6 from Pang Chan Kit. He's currently playing for New England, but he's under bids from pretty much from Hertha Berlin, and he's also wanted by Arsenal and Man City, but Hertha Berlin look like they're going to get him on a free transfer. We got Chaka Lun, who's still at Kitchee, but he's only 17 years old, so he could potentially be getting a move somewhere else. You know, we had this left back Lung, who's just signed for Olympic Lyon, but he's very close to reaching his potential anyway. As you can see, 162, 168, so he's a very, very good player and probably one of our better players here. Bernard Limbu's currently at Anderlecht, as you saw earlier. Chao Ka Lok, I believe he's still playing in Hong Kong, if I can click on his name properly. Oh, you know, he's moved to Perth Glory. We've seen them actually even moving to the likes of Australia and the likes of America. But if we go to scouting, and let's see if we rank our players by their potential, so I'll just take out the goalkeeper section here, and we go across here to potential ability. We'll rank that by the highest potential ability. So we've got a 186, we've got 180, a 178, a 177, a 17. As you can see, some very high potentials here. So in the next few World Cups, hopefully we can go into the further deep knockout rounds. So I'm talking about, you know, round of 16, the quarterfinals, the semi-final, and as this series suggests, eventually the World Cup final, and hopefully winning the tournament. So that's it for the 2026 World Cup section. I'll see you guys in 2030. So as you can see, it's now 4 years later. It's now the 14th of July 2030. So we've had the 2030 World Cup in Italy. So let's go through our results over the last 4 years. As you can see, when I last left you, we just lost one 4-0 in the World Cup in 2026. So in the following games, you know, in the friendlies, we didn't have any competitive games in the international breaks following. So, you know, 5-4 lost Paraguay, you see 4-0 Qatar, 8-3 win over Bolivia, 1-0 over Colombia, 3-1 over Peru, 3-1 over Lebanon, 3-0 over Austria, and 1-1 draw with Denmark. Moving into 2027, as you can see here, absolutely destroyed in the Asian Cup once again. Get to the final with a 5-1 victory over South Korea. What a performance from the boys to retain our Asian Cup title. So that's now 2 Asian Cup titles in a row. Had then more wins here in the friendlies against Singapore, Chile, Mali and Iran. Then the World Cup qualifiers again, did really, really well here. Then in the East Asian Cup, as you can see here, we lost 3-2 against China, but then we beat Japan 6-1 and beat South Korea 3-1, meaning that we actually won the East Asian Cup in 2027 on goal difference over China, which was great to see. So if we go back to our schedule and go back into 2028, so you can see World Cup qualifiers, we absolutely obliterated it. You know, it was probably the easiest World Cup qualifying stage, but that's because our team is obviously getting better. So as there was no mini tournaments or anything in 2028, in 2029, if we go there now, again, did really well in the Asian qualifiers, and then we won the East Asian Cup for, I think, the 3rd or 4th time in a row now. If we go here, yeah, the 3rd time in a row, won it in 2025, 2027 and 2029. As this save sort of progresses, I can't see myself not winning this tournament, because it's fairly easy tournament. It's only 3 games long. It's a nice little tournament to have in December every couple of years, and test yourself against the likes of Korea, China and Japan. And weirdly 29enough, Japan seems to be the worst. South Korea, less than China, sort of in the middle. I'd expect China to be the worst, but that's not actually the case here. So as you can see, that's what happened in 2020. 2009, if we go to 2030, if we go to our World Cup, we eventually got knocked out in the third round, so we went one round further than before, but as you can see, we beat Costa Rica 2-0 in the first group stage game, goals from Chaka Lun and Chan Kim. Then we go into the Denmark game, we had goals from Takeshi Ishikawa and Poon Ying Wai. Then we beat Germany 1-0 with Lu Hu Ming off the bench in the 79th minute. This is probably the best result we've had on the save yet, and it really should have been another win over England. We were 3-0 up after just 27 minutes from Pang Chung-kit and Lee Chi-young, but Keith Sutton with a brace, Axel Tuanzebe, and then Marcus Rashford with the goal from a penalty in the 109th minute. This was devastating loss, with 3-0 up. You really can't be bottling that in the World Cup, but the board seems to be happy with our progress, and I think in 4 years' time, we can hopefully progress to the quarters and the semis, potentially even the final, just as our great potential players get even better. So if we go look at our team at the moment, this is the team we're currently rocking. So we've got Wong Chung Lam in goal. He's got a 176 potential, 119 current ability. Chanka, he's currently playing at Canfield in Hong Kong. You've got Chakya Lun with a 160 current ability with 169 potential. So still got a teeny bit more to reach. He's currently at Olympic Marseille. As you can see, he moved to Kitchi on a free from Kwok Kung, then moved to Olympic Marseille on a free. That is a great transfer for them. Pang Chek Man is at Philadelphia Union. I'm finding there's quite a few players moving to MLS to then eventually move to Europe. As you can see, he's been there for a couple of years now, and he's currently wanted by Liverpool in the transfer market. You got Chan Kim, who's at RC Lens in France. So he originally went free for Kitchi from Yun Long for a couple of seasons, and then he's moved to RC Lens for £2 million. You got Azza Long, I'll probably up to pictures. He's also Olympic Lyonnais. So he went to PSV Eindhoven on a free transfer, and then he's on £23 million move to Olympic Lyon. And then if we go here, Lamho Lam, who was obviously at Sparta Rotterdam, but he moved on a free transfer to Levante in La Liga. Pang Chung-kit's currently at Chelsea worth £87 million, definitely the best player on the save at the moment. He's won the Asian Player of the Year the last few years as well. Go to our career stats. As you can see, he moved on a free transfer to New England in the MLS. As I said, quite a few players have been moving to the MLS. He got a free transfer to Hertha Berlin, then got a £101 million move to Chelsea in the Premier League. You got Lee Hus-hin, I want to say. £3.5 million is valued at currently at Nashville in the MLS. But yeah, hopefully he'd be getting a big move on shortly, because as you can see, he's got a decent potential of 177. Takeshi Ishikawa is at Angers in France. Obviously, he moved to Perth Glory on a free transfer, and then moved to Angers on a free transfer after that. Then you have Lee Chi-hung, who's still at Kitchi at 24 years old, but he hasn't got the greatest of potential, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just stays there, because he's only got 130. They've got 139 in Poon Ying Wai, who's currently at Houston Dynamo in the MLS as well. So as you can see, we got some good players, but we also got some 100 cappers now. We got Lamho Lam with 125 caps, Pang Chung-kit with 105, Ichikawa with 107. We've got 106 from Beno Limbu, we've got 103 from Dyson Y. So they're doing quite well, and if Lu Ming is with a 170 potential, the biggest problem before this World Cup, and the reason I didn't do great is because of the defence. But as you see, we've got some good potentials in our defence now, so if this team can reach their potential by getting that move to the big European clubs, you could really see as a force to be reckoned with. And our youth teams are still doing well. I think they won the Under-23 Asian Nations Cup. As you can see, we won it in 2028, with China winning it in 2030. So the youth teams are still doing well. I think they're getting to the latter end of the Olympics, the latter end of the Under-20 World Cup. So what I'll do is I'll rejoin you guys back in 2034 and see how we do. As you can see, it's now 4 years later. We're now the 16th of July 2034. We finished 2030 with just some brilliant wins, basically. Venezuela and USA 4-4-2, 4-1, Bolivia and Ghana 6-1, 8-0, Mexico 2-1, Paraguay 4-0, Iran 5-0. Moving into 2031, we won the Asian Cup once again, so I want to say that's our third Asian Cup in a row now. So that's good to see. Beat Iran in the final, beat China, beat Australia. So probably our easiest run so far. We only had to play two of the big four, I guess you can say, in Australia and China, out of the Japan and South Korea. But Iran is still a decent side. Again, we totally dominated in the East Asian Cup once again, and we're quite successful in that. And we're sort of just winning every single game, as you can see here, going to 2033. And so yeah, again, another East Asian Cup victory. Now this World Cup, probably our best World Cup so far, but as you can see here, we lost to England once again. We started off with a 2-0 win over Bosnia, then we got a 4-0 win over Tunisia, a 4-0 win over New Zealand, and we lost to England on penalties. But we got knocked out after 4 games, not conceding a goal. And just look at these match stats, like, unbelievable. 26 attempts, 11 on target to their 4 attempts and 0, and then we ended up losing on penalties. Leiter's Hin with the missing penalty there, so it was devastating really, because we played so well. We deserved to go through to the quarterfinals, and we go into this World Cup. If we then got into the quarterfinal stage, we would have ended up playing Switzerland, who would have backed us to win against, and then we go to the semi-final. And we would have had Romania. I would have backed us to beat Romania. Then we would have been playing Brazil in the final. And I think realistically we could have done that. Really bad news as well is Pang Chung-kit, our best player by an absolute country mile, is retired from international football at only 29 years old, which is devastating. As you can see, worth £84 million. Scored 114 goals in 159 games. Got insane stats, but clearly wants to focus on his football at Real Madrid, which is devastating for us really, because he's clearly our best player. But he would have. I was hoping maybe to get one more World Cup out of him. At the age of 32, 33, he could have done a job for us, and probably still be one of the better players in the team. But I guess it's time to move on to pastures new for him really. So as you can see, the rest of our team here, we got some decent players. You got Binod Limbu here, £53 million. He's still not even got 10 plus finishing, but he's got 103 goals and 160 caps. You got Ping Young Wai, 106 apps, 89 goals. We got Lee Hin, who I don't know if he's going to reach that potential because he's now 26 years old. Same with Lee Hu Ming. He had 170 potential, but he's now 27 and has only reached a 116 because he just didn't get that move to Europe. So that's what it shows in this save. You need to get that move to Europe fairly early on, in your early 20s at the latest, to get that move and sort of reach your potential really. So it's unfortunate that we got knocked out by England. We got 4 clean sheets in the World Cup. Didn't concede a goal, but yet we got knocked out. So I guess it's only time for me to give it another go in 2038. As you can see, guys, it's now the 11th of July 2038, so we've played the 2038 World Cup, which was obviously held as actually it isn't quite obvious because you don't actually know, but it was held in South Korea, the first time of being in Asia since obviously 2002 when it was Japan and South Korea hosting it. As you can see, after we got knocked out on penalties, we had some decent friendly results here. We lost to Mexico, unfortunately, but then we beat Costa Rica, Argentina, Venezuela, Uruguay, and the USA. Going into 2035, another Asian Cup win, a 3-0 win over China, 11-0 over Kazakhstan, 8-0 over India, Qatar 7-0 in the second round, Korea 2-0 in the quarter-final, China 4-2 in the semi-final, and Australia 3-1 in the final. And as you see, we absolutely dominated in the qualifiers and we won the East Asian Cup once again. Going to 2036, as you can see, we again just absolutely dominated it in the qualifying stage. And as you can see here, the East Asian Cup, another victory there. Now let's see how we did in the World Cup. If you look at the World Cup here, as you can see, in Group G, we came top with 2 wins. We beat Honduras 5-0 in our first game, then got a 1-0 victory over Croatia in the second game. The Croatia game was a tough game, but thankfully we came out on top. And obviously we came top of the groups because Croatia ended up beating Honduras to get through on goal difference because we only put 1 goal past them as opposed to 5. If you look in the second round here, we beat USA 3-1, a very nice victory here. As you can see here, we get the match stats up. We completely dominated them, 21 shots, 6 on target, goals from Leiter's Hin, Pang Ho Yin, and Ng Wai Man. These Hong Kong names are never going to be the easiest to pronounce. So if we go into... let's go to stages, as we can see here. And then we go into the third round now. As you can see here, we beat Brazil 1-0, and the celebrations in my bedroom while in lockdown were absolutely mental. As you can see, 120th minute from Poon Ying Wai, and very, very even game. As you can see, both had 10 shots on target. I may have had a few more off target, but 10 shots on target each, and it's right until the end of extra time to get the victory for us. But finally, we get past that third round and get into the quarterfinal stage for the first time. So we go into the quarterfinals here. As you can see, we beat Italy 2-1. As you can see here, they took the lead through Stefano Stridi, but Pang Chung-kit and Chan Lok Fung got the goals for us to give us the victory to send us into the semi-finals. And if we go into the semi-finals, as you see, we're into our final. We thankfully got Ukraine. Thankfully, we haven't had to play England in the 2038 World Cup, or it could have been a very, very different story. Yeah, we got a 1-0 victory over Ukraine, thanks to Chang Lok Him. And yeah, 76th minute, 20 shots, 10 on target compared to 8 and 3, so it was a very deserved victory for us. And as you can see in the top there, and as you can see here in the final, we were able to win the World Cup with Hong Kong. The 200 youth rating, the 20 facilities has finally come good for us. It only took us 18 years, so that it took us a fair few attempts at the World Cup, but we did it. We've done the aim of this save, and that's how long it's taken a team who were probably in the low, probably like 150th, 170th in the world at the time, to get them to win the World Cup. It takes you near enough 20 seasons, 15 seasons to do it. So, yeah, it's tough, but, we ended up absolutely dominating in the final with a 3-0 victory, 20 shots, 11 on target. That seems to be quite our average, sort of, getting 10 shots on target per game. But we did leave it fairly late in the game. As you see, Pang Chang Kit didn't get it until the 69th minute, but Lee Hu Sin in the 86th and Lo Chi Sing in the 88th minute. So, as you can see, that's the end of the save, guys. We have won the World Cup. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comment section down below. If you want me to try this with other countries, let me know. If you want me to start doing maybe a club save, so we can take a team who are in an obscure European league, I don't know, like Macedonia or Kosovo or Montenegro, and try to win the Champions League with them or something, let me know down below in the comment section. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Nero, and I'll see you guys soon.